Okay, let's talk about this because honestly, there is a discrepancy going on between men and women that have been hurt by their previous partners. And in my opinion, these two individuals would make a really good couple, except their protective mechanisms are now turning the other person off. So, what typically happens with women is they've poured so much into relationships that now, after she's been hurt so much, her focus becomes what can I get out of a man so that I'm not investing into a relationship without getting anything out of it. What happens is her focus becomes money. You know, there's so many trends about women wanting money, or there's songs created like bitches shaking ass with their hand out. However, this is turning off the man that actually wants to give her everything that she wants, which is not necessarily money. Because if you were to ask any woman that has been in a relationship where money was used as an avoidance mechanism to actual emotional intimacy, she would rather take the emotional intimacy. She would rather have the emotional safety than someone just throwing money at the problem and calling it a day, because then she doesn't really feel valued and appreciated for who she is and realizes this man is using money as an avoidance mechanism. But there are so many women that end up in like financially abusive relationships, and all they really desire is to have a man that actually cares about her. Now, I'm not going to say and blow smoke up your ass and say that money is not important, because it absolutely is. And I do think that there has to be, in a relationship between a man and a woman, women want to feel like they can sit in the passenger seat. And so a masculine man will naturally make her feel that way. However, back to the point, she's using money as a protective mechanism over herself and her emotions, because she is quite literally not wanting to enter a relationship unless she's guaranteed to get something out of it. So now the focus becomes money. But this is turning off the man that actually wants to give her what she wants, which it's not money. It's emotional intelligence, emotional capacity, listening, the ability to understand, to love her, to lead properly because he is in tune with his own emotions. A masculine man, like the energy of a masculine man, has absolutely nothing to do with money. Like a secure masculine man that doesn't need to prove himself to her. Oh, baby, you want a freak. That's how you get one. Women's bodies naturally respond to safety. It's a natural process, babe. But essentially, because on the opposite side of this, the man has been hurt by a woman that maybe has made him feel emasculated and like demanded money, or made him feel less than, because I saw someone talking about it on TikTok saying that his ex-girlfriend like would make him feel less than a man because he didn't pay for her nails and like her hair and her lash extensions. And I could totally see, like, if you're demanding something, that turns anybody off. You need to allow people to have autonomy over their choices and their decisions. And a man that actually loves you will naturally like step up to the plate. And it doesn't come from a place of like demanding at all. But now that this woman who's been hurt by a man is, her focus becomes money, and this man has been maybe emasculated by a woman that demanded money, or perhaps has hurt him in some type of way, maybe was dishonest or unloyal in some type of capacity, his protective walls go up and he basically cuts himself off from his emotions. I have seen this a lot recently where men use stoicism as a way to like avoid emotions. So for a man, when a woman evokes a certain emotion in him and the feeling of love, he almost feels like he's out of control. So I see a lot of men use stoicism as a way to be like, I'm very in control of myself and I'm very secure in myself, but really it's an avoidance mechanism, it's a protective mechanism, cutting him off from his emotions. And if he cuts himself off from his emotions, that is turning off the girl that maybe would give him everything that he needs and wants. That maybe his previous partner could not give him because it makes her feel unsafe. I don't know if this is making sense, but I do see stoicism as a protective mechanism. And unfortunately, there is no way you can cut yourself off from your emotions unless you're literally like a sociopath or a psychopath. You're going to have emotions and you're going to have hard moments and you're going to feel sad and you're going to feel out of control and you're going to feel love and you're going to feel pain and you're going to feel joy. But I've been seeing people use stoicism to just like be an explanation for not feeling sad emotion, especially in men. This video specifically is for those that showed up authentically in relationships previously and have been hurt. I'm not talking to the chaoticness of unhealed people, but essentially we're all unhealed in some type of way. We all have protective mechanisms. We all are not going to show up our best at all times because we're human beings. But I do think it's unfortunate because until men and women drop their protective mechanisms, can they experience love and connection the way that they really want to? And the only way to really heal is through relationships. It's easy to be alone and have no one trigger you or bring up insecurity or past wounding or trust issues. The real test is when you're presented with something healthy and how you respond to that. Because I've heard so many people that have been in toxic relationships and then mention that they've been triggered the most in their healthy relationships because they're not used to that type of security. So it's showing them every place where they still don't feel deserving or worthy of love. It's interesting because I've noticed this in myself. I see people that embody healthy masculine energy and I'm like, man, would I be the toxic one in my relationship now? But the premise of this is we heal in environments that show us that it's safe repeatedly over and over and over again. And really, a healthy relationship is just one person explaining how they feel. Half of a healthy relationship is someone explaining how they feel and the other person not getting defensive about it. We need people. I think that, myself included, we have just become so independent from one another because we've been hurt and we don't want to get hurt again, which is so understandable. But I've had to get honest with myself. Like, I was the bedroom child, and I've spent a lot of my 20s just staying home. And I had to ask myself the question, why am I staying home? Like, what is the reason I'm staying home? And it's because people in the past would make me feel like, it's like I had to prove my goodness to people. So if I stayed home, they would view me as good because I wasn't challenging them in some type of way. But you can be like a good person with good morals and a good head on your shoulders and still kiki on the weekend, you know? And those two things aren't opposite one another, and you don't have to go to extremes to like prove your identity. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but now I'm like, life is not meant to be like lived inside. It's meant to be in connection and proximity to other people and making memories and not watching people online, consuming content about what they're doing in their day-to-day or the places that they're going and traveling. It's like you have to do that for yourself. We need other people. We need community in our corner and we need support. People need support. In order to heal from things, you need support and you need community. You cannot do it alone, isolated by yourself. And so many people have built up walls in order to protect themselves from being hurt. But these same walls are preventing you from healing in the same capacity.